It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the change order. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Wesley, seconded by Ms. Lee.
Question.
What? Please ask your question.
Okay, I just want to clarify, is this work going to be done by a local contractor?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
The project is done. They're just returning the contingency money.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're giving the money back.
Yes.
Yeah. So, is there further discussion?
No, there is not.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You're giving us the money back. Mrs. Hernandez, please.
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
Aye.
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. McCullough,
Aye.
Ms. Wesley. Aye.
Unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is the Bendix site transfer approval 9.03. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees approve the Bendix site transfer. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Wesley,
Second.
Mr. Anella. Thank you. Nice. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Caleb Bauer. I'm Executive Director of Community Investment for the City of South Bend.
Good evening, school board members. Joe Molnar, Property Development Manager for the Department of Community Investment with the City of South Bend.
Welcome. Thank you.
Today, we're here to bring a matching resolution for a purchase agreement for 5.16 acres at the Bendix Drive property that the school board owns, which is the current bus depot. This is for the large grassy lot to the north of the large parking lot where the buses park, and it includes almost entirely grass, except for a small parking lot of about 20 to 30 parking spots. The redevelopment commission would be the purchaser of this property. Two independent appraisers appraised the land at the 5.16 acres and valued it at $277,750.00. That is the average of the two appraisals. That is the proposed purchase cost from the redevelopment commission. At closing, in the current purchase agreement, the redevelopment commission would commit to an access agreement to allow the South Bend Community School Corporation to continue using that land until any construction would occur on the property. So 90 days before any construction would occur, notice would have to be given to the South Bend Community School Corporation that the access would have to end. Also, in the purchase agreement, the redevelopment commission would commit to a 25-foot buffer where no improvements would be made along the southern end of the new property, and also would erect an 8-foot fence on that southern property edge. Again, the purchase price would be $277,750, which is the average of the two appraisals, and Caleb can tell you more about the proposed use.
Thank you, Joe. The proposed use for this site is part of a long-term goal of the administration to develop a low barrier intake center that can serve unsheltered individuals in our community and serve as a single entry point into the system of care for unsheltered individuals in our community. So right now, a temporary site has been housed at the Knights Inn location on Lincoln Way West, which you may recall was developed during the COVID-19 pandemic as an emergency location and led by Our Lady of the Road, a local nonprofit, with funding from St. Joseph County and also some supportive services that were funded by the City of South Bend. Funding has continued there through the City of South Bend, but the intent for that site was always for it to be a temporary solution and that a purpose-built intake center be developed as has been a goal for a number of years. Our team approached the school corporation team and inquired about this site north of the bus depot because of its location and access to bus line. It's on a bus line and location near grocery stores and other services which are located to the north. You've got Meijer and Aldi to the north, easily accessible by bus line. As well, this has been a challenge to locate the intake center. You may recall a number of years ago, there were attempts to place it elsewhere within the city of South Bend. So no site is perfect, but we believe this is a good site, and we are committed to a transferable commitment for providing security and 8-foot fence and setback requirements north of the bus depot lot to ensure that there is no infringement upon the South Bend Community School Corporation property. Our partners from Our Lady of the Road, which has formed a new 501c3, the New Day Intake Center, are here and can speak a little bit more to intended use for the site if you have additional questions there. But this resolution would allow staff to negotiate that purchase agreement. This would require approval by the South Bend Redevelopment Commission. And to clarify, there was a point made earlier about board member Leslie Wesley serving on the Redevelopment Commission. I want to clarify, she is a non-voting member and sits on the commission as a representative of the South Bend Community School Corporation Board of Commissioners. So there is no conflict of interest there. That is her statutorily required or statutorily enabled position on the commission. The intended use, as I mentioned, is for an intake center. The Redevelopment Commission would work with the nonprofit to develop a property transfer agreement, but in the interim, they would begin a capital campaign for fundraising for the site. So while the capital campaign is transpiring, the Redevelopment Commission would own and hold the site once funds have been raised such that they can move forward with plans for the construction of the intake center. We would initiate a transfer at that time. The site is currently zoned industrial. It would require a rezoning for residential use, and so that would have to go before the South Bend Common Council before the proposed use could be constructed on the site. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Not so much a question as a comment, and voice of concern. As I drive through South Bend, I'm from South Bend, actually, well, Chicago, actually, but South Bend. And I drive up and down Lincoln Way, Phoenix Drive, Mayflower, Western Avenue. There's all kinds of empty buildings there. The city have an opportunity to utilize one of those buildings and put this facility that you're referring to in that building, in any of those buildings that we see empty along these streets, avenue. And my question is, what if we want to use this property later on down the road for something? What's to say that we're not going to use this property at some point in time? Another comment. We close our schools, and then we're talking about putting up part of our property to give it to the city or sell it to the city. And without the public's input regarding this. They're taxpayers. The public they should have input into what we're doing with the property on our South Bend Community School Corporation property. They should have input in that. And for us to discount that and not even acknowledge them, I think is a disservice to them. Again, the city has all kinds of avenues that they can take. We don't have to sell this particular property through them, especially without a lot of discussion regarding this property. Like I said, there's a lot of empty buildings around this whole city that they can take advantage of. That's my comment.
But I have a comment too. So you're purchasing this, but you have no reason right now to put anything on this property? You're not going to be utilizing it right away? You're just
Correct.
with just a future outlook?
The reason why we have asked to facilitate the purchase prior to a full fundraising completed capital campaign is a lot of questions have been asked by potential donors as part of the capital campaign of where would the site be located? What would the design of the site look like? and other operational questions related to the intake center. So by securing a site and allowing the New Day Intake Center team to begin their capital campaign, they can answer a lot more of the specific questions of what would the layout of the site look like. Certainly now potential contributors would know the location. And so that was part of our thinking of requesting this purchase at this time.
Okay, I went, went by it, I think about 2 or 3 months ago. And, I did notice that, there is a, entrance and exit that you can get to this quite easily, correct? This property?
Off of Bendix.
Yes. And, so I'm just, you know, without knowing what is going in that lot, that vacant lot, eventually, I don't know that would be advantageous to our transportation department. Because something might go there that might absolutely infringe on their use of what they're using that their property for. And so that's my only, I guess that's my only negativity on this is just, I don't know why I guess speculation, but I don't know why we as a board would offer it to someone without knowing exactly what's going in there. That's all my comment.
Mr. Nolan?
I just want to say that when we went through the referendum process and the facilities and, we realize how much stuff we own and land in random places. If we've got 5 acres that we can sell for market value, it just seems to make sense that we're not using it. We've got plenty of room at transportation. So that's seems like a good move on our part.
I just want to pick up on,
I just have one question.
How long have we, do you know when we acquired that land?
The land that we have,
Yeah, the land in question.
the land in question, it's been a while, a really long time. We've had it over 40 years.
Okay, thank you.
To our knowledge, the site, at least specifically the 5.16 acres that the city is petitioning to purchase, has never had any buildings on it whatsoever. It's always been a green field except for that small parking lot.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure the public, that would be a good question.
I wanted to just come back to Ms. McCullough's question. There are other building sites. Is there a reason why we're not using some of the available sites instead of a new build on this land?
I think there are other buildings within the city of South Bend, certainly but they are not purpose-built for providing safe and reliable shelter for homeless individuals. So yes, you can retrofit an existing building. I think for this type of service, you're going to be looking at similar costs as a new construction build. But I will note, there have been, and the city has been part of financially supporting a number of new permanent supportive housing projects throughout the community. Hope Avenue Homes, which is on the northeast side, is the most recently constructed permanent supportive housing complex, as well as the Oliver Apartments, which is off of Indiana Avenue on the southwest side, and are currently working on a scattered site permanent supportive housing project with South Bend Heritage. So this is just part of the strategy. It's not the only piece. However, we believe that this site, a larger format site allowing for a purpose-built facility, it suits the purposes of the New Day team. And so we are hopeful that the board sees that as well and is able to approve this.
And a somewhat related question then, what's the counter argument? Right, you're anticipating perhaps what we're already overhearing is there some pushback. Why wouldn't we do this? Why should the board not support it?
Well, I don't have a counter argument. I think it's a very important, service that is needed in our community. It has been a priority spanning multiple mayoral administrations. This was actually a recommendation from the 2017 Mayor's Committee on Homelessness, and it has been something that we've had some fits and starts in developing the intake center. There was a tentative location at one point in time that ultimately wasn't able to pan out because of public opposition. And so today we're returning because we believe this is a very important part of the overall strategy to develop and continue to expand the continuum of care. The Nights In facility, while it has served as an emergency stopgap, is not a good long-term solution for these types of services. I think a lot of neighbors may share some of that too, though there has been significant progress operationally at that site. And we commend the Motels for Now team for their work to address concerns from neighbors. So I just want to note that there's been a lot of progress at that site. However, that's a motel. It's not built for serving individuals who are dealing with mental health crises, substance abuse challenges, whereas this would be a purpose-built facility. And so that's the intended use, and we believe it's an important one, and grateful for its consideration today.
I got one more comment. One more question, actually. So am I to understand, let me put my paper, understand that, you quoted $277,000
$277,000 and $750.
to, for you to purchase this building from us?
Purchase the
And so
land.
you have not, or have any intentions yet right away to build a building on this property. So, as I said, as I drive up and down the city streets and see these locations, these vacant lots, so this $277,000, along with whatever you were going to put into to build a building, you can purchase a lot and build your building on that lot, if that's all-purpose building on the lot, if that's what you said, if none of these houses would be sufficient for your building. I'm just simply saying that I agree with Mr. Costello. We don't know what we might need to use that property for a lot down the road as far as our transportation facility. We may need that property. So if this property is sold and we end up finding out somewhere down the road that we need this property and it's gone, then we're sitting here again without the tools and means to use our property. So I don't agree with us selling off this property because, like I said, the public has a right to weigh in. They have a right to, this need to be brought in front of the public so they can have a discussion. This is their land. They paid for this property through their taxes.
Ms. Lee?
I feel like the public elects us to make some of these choices. And I think in this particular instance, it's a piece of land that has sat vacant for decades. We have much property, and a lot of it, we have no ability to sell. Lots of our, if you would call it, asset portfolio is not in our control because when we close a building, we have to sell it to a charter for $1. There are certain pieces of property we can sell. This is one that we can sell, and we have not used it again for decades. As far as existing buildings, as someone who lives in an old house, and anybody will tell you, the old buildings are challenged, and you will continuously uncover things that will end up costing Our Lady of the Road and their nonprofit more, which will make it more difficult to invest in the people. And the other piece of this intake center, having followed like how difficult it is to place this, it seems like an excellent location to me. There are not housing subdivisions circling it or anything like that. And it could be custom designed and landscaped, and there are certain things that can happen that you could not do in other places. And as a public school corporation that serves the children of families that oftentimes are not stable, don't have the stability they need, this is the kind of intake center that can help stabilize families, which then ends up serving our children better. And I think anything that, if we can partner with the city to provide some stability in our community, that will make a difference for the children who are currently in our community or are going to be born into our community, I think that makes a difference. And I think it's a good partnership.
I would say. I echo, Mrs. Lee, and for 40 years, this land has been sitting. And there's a cause. We see the homelessness is huge here in St. Joe County. We're one of the largest counties in the whole state. With the housing, public housing having to, tear down a lot of the units, that leaves us with not a lot of affordable housing. And so, did you say that Our Lady of the Road, are they here? Are they?
They are here.
Okay. Hi, how you doing? I'd just like to say, I don't know how the vote's gonna go, but I'd like to say thank you for your courage. This is long overdue of having, this intake center. I'm glad that if we can partner, with, organization and with the city to, bring change, I think this is a one opportunity. Why are we not being good stewards and liquidating land that we're just sitting on? So again, special thank you to the city and to Our Lady of the Road. And for those of you again that may not have heard, I sit on the commission mandated by the state of Indiana. It's a code. I am a non-voting member. I collect information for the board and it's mandated by the state. So I'd just like to say again, be careful with false statements, defamation of character, because that's very misleading to the public. And thank you, Caleb, for correcting that. And thank you, Mrs. Fowler, for bringing this to the board.
I think we're ready to vote. If there's no further discussion, there's no room, we don't have public comments on this. Ms. Hernandez, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Anella,
Aye.
Mr. Costello,
No,
Dr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. McCullough,
Nay.
Ms. Wesley.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thanks so much for carrying this forth. So we're on to agenda item